The Marine Corps Air-Ground Combat Center sits isolated in the vast expanse of the California desert. The living quarters here are tightly packed, surrounded by miles of empty, arid terrain. In 2013, 19-year-old Erin Corwin and her husband Jonathan arrived at this remote installation. They were newly married, moving far from their home in Tennessee to begin Jonathan's military assignment. Living thousands of miles from their families, the Corwins quickly formed a tight bond with their next-door neighbors, fellow Marine Christopher Lee and his wife Nicole. The constant stress of military deployments and extended training absences meant these young couples relied heavily on each other for daily support and companionship. When you place young couples in deep geographical isolation, the usual social boundaries tend to fade. Their apartments essentially functioned as a single shared living space, creating an intensely confined environment where private lives completely overlapped. On the morning of June 28, 2014, Erin kissed her husband goodbye and drove off. She told him she was heading into Joshua Tree National Park to scout hiking trails for an upcoming visit from her mother. Hours passed. Jonathan called her phone over 50 times with no response. His anxiety deepened the next day when authorities located Erin's vehicle abandoned several kilometers north of the park boundaries. Finding her meant searching the Mojave Desert. This landscape spans thousands of square kilometers of rugged, unforgiving terrain with extreme temperatures and deeply uneven ground. Police faced a massive void of information. They had an empty car and a missing 19-year-old who was newly pregnant, but they lacked a single piece of physical evidence to indicate a crime had taken place. The authorities were up against an environment uniquely suited to hiding evidence. The harsh desert geography has the capacity to completely swallow the physical traces of a person. Months prior to her disappearance, the shared downtime on the base had fostered a secret relationship. During Jonathan's training absences, Christopher spent significant time alone with Erin, eventually starting a hidden affair. In late June, Erin learned she was carrying Christopher's child. Christopher was only weeks away from finishing his Marine Corps service and moving back to Alaska with his wife, and this pregnancy threatened to dismantle his entire life. To manage the situation, Christopher constructed a detailed lie. On the morning Erin vanished, he told his wife that he was going on a coyote hunting trip, giving him a plausible reason to pack his heavy .22 caliber hunting rifle. Simultaneously, he texted Erin to invite her into the national park for what he described as a special surprise. Based on her messages to a friend in Tennessee, Erin believed he was finally going to propose to her. Christopher calculated that the jagged terrain of the Mojave would provide a naturally secure location to hide a body and guarantee his freedom. Early on, investigators questioned Christopher after matching the tire tracks near Erin's car to his vehicle. But despite his reputation for mishandling weapons on base and a clear motive, the absence of a body meant police had to let him go after 9 hours. The critical break came from a local ranch owner. She recalled Christopher asking specifically about exploring hard-to-reach, abandoned vertical mine shafts scattered throughout the desert. This topographical map displays the immense 3,000 square kilometer search area, a landscape dotted with thousands of hidden mining holes. The search seemed futile until August 16th, when a volunteer spelunker noticed a strong odor of gasoline rising from one specific shaft. The air inside was extremely toxic, requiring specialized equipment. Searchers lowered a camera down a 76-meter cable into the pitch-black shaft, eventually spotting the remains alongside an unignited propane tank Christopher had thrown in, likely hoping to destroy the evidence. 2 months after she vanished, authorities carefully extracted the body from the dark depths of the mine. Dental records confirmed it was Erin Corwin and her unborn child. Christopher believed the desert would keep his secret forever. Ultimately, the meticulous coordination of volunteers and the application of highly specialized technical equipment broke through that geological shield. Locating the body completely shifted the dynamic of the case. By accessing the specific crime scene, investigators finally recovered physical evidence, including a single .22 caliber shell casing left near the mine. This diagram illustrates how forensic scientists linked that casing to the killer. When a gun is fired, the firing pin leaves a unique microscopic impression on the brass. Analysts matched the strike marks on the recovered casing directly to Christopher's military-issued rifle. Police arrested Christopher in Alaska, discovering a homemade garrote under his car seat that matched the one found around Erin's neck. In court, he offered a desperate, fabricated story about defending his daughter, which the jury rejected in just 15 minutes. The remote environment he selected to hide his crime ended up preserving the exact physical materials the prosecution needed to secure a first-degree murder conviction. Following the trial, Jonathan Corwin made a conscious choice to step away from the media spotlight. He stated that holding on to hatred would only destroy him, and he chose to focus quietly on rebuilding his life. Back in Tennessee, Erin's family sought to prevent this from happening to anyone else. They launched a petition directed at the Bureau of Land Management, focusing on the specific geographical hazard that enabled the crime. They requested prioritized funding to permanently seal these abandoned vertical mine shafts. By capping these openings with heavy steel grates, they aimed to eliminate the possibility of anyone falling in by accident or using them to conceal a crime. The Mojave Desert served as the staging ground for a calculated betrayal. Yet, through their grief, Erin's family took action to alter that terrain, ensuring those hidden depths could no longer pose a danger to others.